Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today is the very first weekly NHL news with your main man Peyton, as today is a very big episode, as we're going to be talking about lots of sports news, as there's been so much that just circulated in the past couple hours. I actually needed to re-record this video because I only had two stories originally, and just out of nowhere last night we had multiple people tested positive for the coronavirus and stuff like that, which we're going to be talking a lot about that, and who was kind of the person that got tested positive and who were the teams that also had to close their facilities as well. We're also going to be talking about the lawsuit that Daniel Carcillo and Garrett Taylor put on the CHL, and the big news of the Buffalo Sabres. Now, if you guys like oh my god, I cannot speak apparently today, but if you guys like the content I make on the channel, make sure to like and subscribe. I will be posting these daily news videos every week Saturday. It's going to be a fun video for you guys to watch. You guys kind of get to see the whole week of news. Today will be a little bit shorter of news, but it's still going to be busy with content. As today's first story, we're going to be talking about Auston Matthews getting tested positive for the coronavirus. As well, the Tampa Bay Lightning had to close their facilities as a couple of their staff, or 3 players and 2 of their staff members, were tested positive for COVID-19. So, big news right off the get-go with everyone being tested positive, and we all knew this was happening. We knew that this was going to happen. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, coronavirus is going to break out again, which we already know that's going to be a big thing. But people are still getting tested positive for coronavirus. Right now in Calgary, I think we still have 500 active people that have been affected with the coronavirus. Now, a lot of people have recovered, but I mean, it's not too big of a thing to worry about. That's why we are taking a long time for training camp and not starting up hockey for a little whiles away. So I don't think this is going to be a big thing that we need to worry about. Yes, it kind of sucks that a lot of big players like Auston Matthews and a couple players there in Tampa Bay were tested positive for the coronavirus. It sucks, but it is what it is, and you can't stop everything from happening. So, on to our second news story of today. We're going to be talking about the Botterwell firing and the Terry Pegula ripping apart the Buffalo Sabres and what he's doing. To be honest with you, it is a disaster there in Buffalo. They hired a man named Kevyn Adams, a guy that's just going to be a yes man to Terry Pegula, which to me is a stupid idea to do that. You should hire a GM that I think is very well knowledgeable in hockey and knows what he's doing with the team. Kind of what Ken Holland was. I mean, we have went through GMs that have never GM'd before. It never really worked out for the team. And it never worked out when the owner was the fucking boss of the team. It never works out that way. Especially with this Kevyn Adams guy, I think it's going to be the exact same way with what the Edmonton Oilers had. Remember when the Yakupov draft came in, we were all saying, all the scouts were saying draft Ryan Murray, but Daryl Katz was like, you got to pick Nail Yakupov. And he ended up to be one of the biggest busts in NHL history, which is absolutely terrible. But it wasn't just that they hired a yes man in Kevyn Adams and just fired Jason Botterill. They fired everybody. Not just that, they hired somebody and then rehired him because it was a fucking mistake. This franchise is a joke. They fire all their scouting staff right before one of the biggest drafts that we're probably going to have in a long time. This draft is kind of being talked about as being one of the biggest drafts since I think the 2003 draft, where they had Getzlaf and all those other big players in that draft, right? That was a huge one, and they're kind of talking about this draft being a big one. I don't know. It's kind of a gong show what they're doing there in Buffalo, and I'm really hoping that sooner or later that this franchise fixes itself. They have a franchise kind of talent in Jack Eichel, who is absolutely fantastic and is going to be on the team for a very long time, unless they keep playing like this and it keeps going down in the dumps. I mean, one story came out that Jason Botterill didn't want to sign Jack Eichel and Jeff Skinner to long-term extensions, which now they're stuck with Jeff Skinner, one of the worst contracts ever in franchise history, and it's a bummer. It's a real big bummer for the Buffalo Sabres, and I'm hoping that they can fix the franchise sooner or later. And I'm hoping that maybe Kevyn Adams is going to be a good GM. I don't really see this Buffalo Sabres team being in the playoffs for the next 4 years, maybe even 5. I don't see this team being a playoff team at all unless they were to make some major changes and to turn this team around. This team's not going to be a playoff team for a long time to come, and I'm sorry for saying that. And for our last story, we're going to be talking about the two former CHLers coming out and directing a lawsuit towards the CHL for multiple hazing incidents. Now, before I kind of get into this story, it is a very messed up story. It is super fucked up. So if you guys don't want to hear the details that happened, I mean, I think we all should know what happened, because I think we should all learn from this kind of incident that happened and learn and become better people, because the way that this happened is super messed up, and I think we should learn from what happened to these guys. So, according to the lawsuit, players in the class were, among other things, forced to masturbate in front of teammates and coaches, and forced to sexually assault teammates, to consume saliva, urine, semen, and feces of other players, and to sexually engage with animals. It is also alleged that players had heavy objects tied to their genitals and had their genitals dipped in irritants and toxic liquids, and had objects such as hockey sticks, brooms, and food forced into their anuses. It is also alleged that players were forced to consume large amounts of alcohol and illicit drugs. Now, I also heard one of the other stories that this guy named Guest was forced to snort cocaine. He was forced to do cocaine. And not just that, let's read some of the stories that was part of this lawsuit, okay? So, during showers, rookies were required to sit in the middle of the shower room naked while the older players urinated, spat, saliva, and tobacco chew on them. At least once, the head coach walked in the shower room while this was occurring, laughed, and walked out. This was the head coach. And these guys are 16 to 19-year-olds, right? They're young. Not just that, older players would put the rookies in laundry bins on the wheels, four at a time. They would run the laundry bin into a wall as fast as they could go. Players suffered injuries, including being knocked unconscious. It was called the rookie rocket. What the fuck is that? Now, last but not least, we're going to go one more. Actually, we're going to go two more. There's big ones. Older players would organize orgies at house parties. Rookies were required to take part in sexual acts while the older players watched and took part. And last but not least, the head coach walked in on a naked rookie taped on a table with his buttocks in the air. Older players were whipping him with a belt. The head coach took part with the child and laughed while the boy cried. This is beyond fucked up. And it's fucked up to even talk about this, because I have dealt with this shit too before. When I was a rookie on a midget team, the guys, they were relentless. They would make you fill up your water bottles, and if you were to say no to them, they would beat the fuck out of you. They would torture you in practice. They would do so much shit. I seen a kid get thrown in the garbage head first, right? It's fucked out of our minds that we are forced to do this. I remember one story of one of our rookies on my team, and the captain walked up to the rookie and told the rookie to buy him something because he's the captain of the team. This shit is unbelievable, what I have dealt with and what Daniel Carcillo and Garrett Taylor went through. They went through way worse than what I have went through in dealing with hockey and stuff like that. But it's a joke. And we should learn from what has happened and the abuse that Carcillo has taken. And we should give shit to Chris Newberry, Aaron Power, Taylor Handchuk, Colin Baker, and Robert Gerson. These were the veterans of Daniel Carcillo's team. For Taylor, we had Colton Scurvio, Dwight King, Cutter Banks, Ben Wright, Drew Hoff, Mitch Fadden, Hua Masola. I don't know how to say his name. If I messed it up, I'm sorry about that, but fuck you if you were part of this shit that you did. It's a lot of messed up stuff, and I'm hoping that we learn from this and become better as people, because this is some really messed up stories, and I don't think this should really ever happen to people like this. And I'm hoping that we learn from our mistakes and become better as people, because this was some fucked up shit. It really was. But I'm going to end things here, guys. Thank you guys for watching the very first episode of your weekly NHL news with your main man Peyton, as we dug into a lot of deep topics. Tell me guys what you guys think down in the comment section below about these hazing incidents with Daniel Carcillo. Not just that, with the Buffalo Sabres and all the coronavirus testing. Will it ever end, and will we always have to deal with the coronavirus and stuff like that? But for right now guys, I'm going to sign off here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios, amigos.